Dear Pixie, is it true that we choose our parents, our romantic partners, our careers, where we actually are born and where we live, all before we are born as some kind of contract? Because there is no way I would have chosen to live in this place or have this career and this life. So why do people say we choose and create a contract? And if we do choose the contract and we don't like it, can we break it once we have incarnated? We, from the perspective of the true we, choose all experiences from the point of view of the energetic, non-manifested potential. Therefore, there is always potential for change. So in response to the last part of your question, yes, the contract can be changed or indeed broken. In order for us to fully respond to your question, we need to show you the point of perspective that you make these choices or contracts from. The perspective of the true we. This point of perspective is that of the all, the overseer, or the one or source. Yet within this there are levels to that perspective. When a soul is in a state of non-individualization, not retaining of memory, non-activation, that soul is somewhat fluid in its experiences each time the soul incarnates into physicality. That soul can join with other souls, if you will, divide parts of itself and generally be recycled, as that soul strives for individualization. When a soul experiences an incarnation where a certain level of expansion has taken place, enough expansion to attain critical mass for individualization for that soul, then that soul retains memory fields from that incarnation, creating activation in certain parts of the overall matrix field of that soul, or that is that soul. When these memory fields remain online, if you will, that soul has begun its individualization. From that perspective, the soul no longer needs to divide or join with other souls. The soul can still do this, but it would be a counterproductive move in most cases for that soul. When the soul individualizes, the soul begins to create contracts for its next incarnation from a narrower point of perspective. There is less choice in this case, or so it would appear from a third-dimensional viewpoint. An analogy we can give you here is a parent making a choice for their child, or a child reaching its young adult years and making the choice for itself. Whilst there may be more potential pitfalls and less wisdom from experience when the young adult begins to make its choices, that is how the young adult learns. An unconditionally loving parent knows when to take a step back and trust that the child, now a young adult, is ready to make these choices for themselves. So too is this the case with the contract creation from the non-physical soul. The oversoul, source perspective, higher self aspect creates the contracts for the non-individualized soul. The soul creates the contracts for itself once it has begun its individualization. The soul and the source perspective, higher self aspect are indeed one and the same, just different points of perspective from the being that encompasses all and everything and is simply one with the all. We may also draw your attention to these points of perspective and the fact that they are simultaneous, as bilocation, trilocation and multilocation are aspects of the time frame woven into the non-physical, non-linear reality. Therefore, in response to the first part of your question, as a non-individualized soul, or should we say from the non-individualized perspective, the higher self aspect source perspective calls into your pre-incarnate projected reality the energy patterns and frequencies needed for your expansion and individualization as a soul. The projections arrange themselves into potentials and manifest within your reality once you are within the perspective of the physical incarnation. Again, from the multidimensional perspective, the physical incarnation is simultaneous to the non-individualized and the individualized soul perspectives. Therefore, all three perspectives are aspects of the all that is you, the all that makes up you. From the individualized soul perspective, the focused, individualized collective consciousness aspect of you projects into your pre-incarnate reality the energies and frequencies needed for your expansion. The individualized soul creates the blueprint prior to your physical incarnation. This linear presentation is a most accurate explanation of this process, yet is given in this linear form for the understanding and processing through the third-dimensional physical brain. In actuality, the blueprint is created from the now, from the 0 point. This creation becomes conscious when expansion and awareness takes place within the incarnated individual in physical form. The blueprint is therefore changed and the contract is broken, with new contracts formed, from the aware and conscious physical perspective. This is ascension. One's parents are chosen prior to incarnation, yet one's true parents are chosen from the now, from the 0 point, as the divine feminine and sacred masculine manifest as the true parents within the true parents and merge with self. The same is said for one's romantic partners, as twin flame frequencies are embraced. The career or job upgrades into the divine mission, and one's alignment leads you to your place of destiny, your true birthright upon your planet. Therefore, the aspect of you, the third-dimensional linear ego self aspect that feels you could not possibly have made the choice to incarnate into a certain place, follow a certain career, or have a relationship with a particular person, is not the aspect of you from which the choice is made. If you feel you are living in the wrong place on your planet, it is not that the choice was made unwisely or against your will. It is the alignment within that is out of balance. This is most positive for your growth and expansion, for this teaches you when you are out of alignment, guiding you into finding your alignment. Your feelings and emotions are in direct line with this alignment. We would also add that the feelings and emotions are projected forth from all that is you in physical form prior to you manifesting the corresponding reality. Therefore, if you feel you are living in the wrong place on your planet, you would move into acceptance and surrender and take action to change this aspect of your life. The acceptance and surrender move you out of a place of resistance and into a place of freedom, allowing the flow from the higher self source perspective to move you into alignment. When you are in this flow, you cannot be in the wrong place, as it were. There is a perspective whereby you may see a particular incarnation and contracts as having been made for you and are out of your control. Indeed, it is possible for another being, either in physical or non-physical incarnation, to control your incarnational line and your blueprint. However, This is one perspective of many, and only when these perspectives are embraced simultaneously can truth of reality be understood and processed. Taking the one perspective of your incarnation and blueprint being beyond your control lines you up with that very reality. Yet when this perspective is the only one embraced, you are indeed out of alignment, and that higher self aspect, source perspective, will always be working to lead or guide you into alignment. Therefore, for those choosing to embrace this prison matrix perspective, it would be most helpful for you to envisage the rescuer, or indeed the saviour story simultaneously. Whilst the saviour story is in itself out of alignment, it is indeed a step on that ladder, if you will, into embracing the multidimensional perspective. It can be seen as a shell to break through from. This angel-demon dualistic paradigm, whilst limiting and karmic, is still a step up from the prison matrix perspective. When one moves from the angel-demon dualistic perspective into the unity consciousness, knowing that all are aspects of self, and self is one with all that is, all that was, and all that ever shall be, then the limiting shell is broken free from, and the new paradigm creates the manifested reality of liberty in its fullest sense. When this occurs, it is impossible for any other being, no matter how powerful, advanced, or adept they may seem, to control or even influence your incarnational line or your pre-incarnate blueprint. When your paradigm stands within unity consciousness, you are the architect of your entire reality. When the unity consciousness paradigm is embraced en masse, reaching critical mass upon your planet, then you become the group architects, as it were, for your entire planet and time-space quantum field for your planet. And indeed, this is exactly what is occurring now. Ultimately, each and every one of you are in the same place, conscious or unconscious, aware or unaware, individualized or non-individualized. It is your perspective, your paradigm, and your corresponding emotions that create the matrix patterns and formations that then in turn create the pre-incarnate blueprinted projections and the corresponding reality. And this is done from the here and now, from where you are now, when you walk the path of enlightenment and embrace ascension and full actualization. We are the white-winged collective consciousness of 9. I am delighted to announce Sacred Quest, my brand new collection of guided meditations. Journey through a rich tapestry of inner visions as I guide you through enriching fables, mysterious landscapes, and sacred soul teachings. You are invited to embark upon an adventure, become a character in a story, as you follow these guided meditations into the deepest recesses of your inner visionary potential. Each guided meditation is a trigger into your own DNA activation, expansion, and healing. Each meditation is, in itself, a spiritual journey. Join me as we embark upon your sacred quest. Instant download at magentapixie.com.